Hello, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what part of the world you're joining us from. Hi, Ruth, right by Grace, great to have you with us today. Your mama, great to have you guys today. Today, we're going to be having Women in Health. It's our International Women's Day series. Yay! Everybody's joining us today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm excited to have you guys. Good evening. I hope you can see me. I hope you can hear me. I hope I'm loud. I hope I'm audible. Hi, great to have you join me today. Today we're going to have the final of our International Women's Day series all month of March. Hi, Joy. Hi, F. Joy. All throughout the month of March, we've been talking women, 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 and we've been talking about the International Women's Day theme, which is basically about empowering women and just helping them to thrive in every sector. So we've had women from the media, we've had women from STEM, we've had women from the arts, and today we're coming back to women in health. Good evening. Oh, and one of our guests is here, Dr. Chichi. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome. Great of you to join us. So welcome again. Welcome, 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 welcome. I'm glad to have you guys in here today. And I see that Dr. Chichi has sent me an invite request. And yay, there she is. Hi.
Evening.
Good evening. Man, I'm loving this, your hair. Oh, see now. See this. See the hair you're giving us. Hey,
Thank
girl.
you.
Good evening, Dr. Chichi. Dr. Chichi is an amazing, amazing gynecologist, but her specialty is in fertility medicine. She's one of those people that just help give women another chance, and just, everybody needs to have a child. So that's what she does. And, she'll be telling us a lot more about her field as we go on in the conversation. She's also a very lovely, caring, beautiful woman. See her now. Just look at
I'm
my spec.
blushing.
This
I'm
is the
blushing.
type that's those Igbo traders will be saying, my color, my color, wait for me. Our Igbo traders of life. So yes,
Good evening, coach.
she's amazing
Good
at
evening, coach.
community. She's part of it. I'm super excited to have you. I know you're a very busy woman, and I don't take it for granted that you could make time for us. So God bless you. Thank you so much for showing up today.
Thank you for having me.
Alrighty. So, while we wait for our second guest, let's just go right into it because today's conversation is going to be robust. It's going to be a lot because we are coming from a lot, a lot, a lot. Women matter. Oh my goodness. Women have a lot going on with them. I mean, my friend was calling me yesterday and said, oh, she got to the hospital. They said she had some ovarian cyst, and she was like, where did that even come from? She started feeling all sorts of way, and I had to start counseling her. Me, I don't even know what it means. I was praying with her that no matter what it is, you'll be fine. And there's just so much that happens with women. They're fine one day, the next day, a doctor is giving you all kinds of diagnosis. And just like, what is it, say? This Auntie Eve, what did she do to us like this? Like, why do we have so many parts of our body that can have problems? What is it? Who did we offend? So today, before we start getting to women and their problematic bodies, we're going to be talking about what it is like to be a female doctor. When I was younger, my teachers used to think that I would be a doctor. They'd be like, ah. So when I told my guidance counselor I wanted to drop biology, she was like, hey, you can't drop biology. That means you can't be a doctor. I said, that's one thing I know I don't want to be. Don't worry, I'm good. Because the sight of blood used to scare the big Jesus out of me. I just knew that I couldn't do it. So how is it to be a doctor, especially in Nigeria with all our coins, 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 coins? Tell us about it.
Okay, so being a doctor in Nigeria, it's it's a lot of hard work. I'm sure that you know that medicine. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. The
Mm,
human body is too many little parts, too many small
mm,
things that everything has to work together. So you're learning so many things
mm.
about the human body. You're learning structurally what it is, which is what we call anatomy, what the human body
Okay.
is about. then you're learning the function of the human body, physiology, and then you're also learning biochemistry, how the different chemical compositions work together. So if you
Yeah.
see the average medical book, they're usually very voluminous. And somehow,
I know. That was what scared me. I was like, no way, I'm not gonna read that. No
and
way.
somehow they assume that you should read all that and then somehow put it in your head and know everything. So it can be tasking because you're supposed to read all this and you're supposed to know everything about a patient, when the patient comes to you. And sometimes it can be difficult and to do that. So it's not medicine, it's not just intelligence, it takes dedication. Because you can be intelligent, but if you don't cover the scope of what you need, you wouldn't know it. So it's intelligence plus a lot of dedication, a lot of reading, a lot
I
of
get.
hard work. So it can be tasking, it's really. But
I
if
can
you
imagine.
love what you do, it's very rewarding. So medicine, it's a good field. It's just that you must be willing, to work hard and study a bit more.
Is that is that hard work? Oh, is that hard work? My chest, I beg. So, I mean, to be honest, I have nothing against hard work. I really, I rather, like hard work. My real problem is reading those books. When it's not novel, excuse me, please don't stress me. That book is so big. I can completely relate when you said that, it's not only about knowing, you have to actually be very dedicated and all of that. My daughter went to the doctor the other day and she was complaining about stomach pain. And the doctor just asked her some just, random questions. And she's like, oh, you'll be fine. I don't worry. I just go. If you feel it again, come back. And she was so upset. It's like, why did the doctor not probe more? Why did they not try to find out what was wrong with her? As if she was really upset. And I said to her, well, the truth is the stomach is a very large organ and pain could mean a number of things. And I say this because of the experience of my older daughter, right,
Yeah.
whom I know, who we had to go run around before we could get a diagnosis. So I said to her, I said, look, when you go to the doctor that you have a stomach pain, you have to explain, number one, that, okay, is it period pain? Is this the one in the center of your stomach? Is it like, because one side could be appendicitis, one side could be period pain, one side could be another thing. One side, it's just, you cannot just say my stomach is paining me and the doctor will just miraculously know what is wrong with
Mhm.
you. I said, so you need to be sure of what you're telling them. That's how they can help you. So what I suggest you do, take a book and be recording. Anytime you feel the pain, note where it came from. Try and remember what you ate last. Try and remember what just let's try and have something to go with. She was looking at me like,
No,
trust that you support the doctor.
but seriously, but that's why we ask questions. Because, like, when you say abdominal pain, for example, there's so many structures, so many organs there. So it's when we ask this pain that we can begin to relate. Okay, if it is this,
And
you
narrow
describe this
down.
pain, it's likely it's this organ. If you do this, it's likely it's that organ. So that's why we ask. And sometimes people are like, why are they asking all these questions? What's all this about? But I don't know. There's too
I
many
know.
organs there. So I need to pinpoint what might
Absolutely.
be causing your pain. And that's why I ask those questions. Mm.
And this doctor did not have our time, apparently, because he didn't ask too many questions. He just said, are you feeling the pain right now? No. Okay, don't worry, you can go. That when you feel the pain, come back. And it felt quite dismissive. And I was like, what is really wrong with this person? But I didn't take it up, and I just had to tell her that don't worry, we'll go back, but let us try and chart something so that we, when we're talking, we would actually know exactly what we're talking about. Okay, so I mean, I can see clearly. I mean, I have experienced firsthand a dedicated doctor versus a maybe tired one or one that is a bit disinterested. Because I do know it's a lot of hard work. I mean, my sister is a doctor, and I have a number of friends who are doctors. Have you ever worked in the public hospitals in Nigeria? Have you ever worked
Yes, I
there?
have. When I was doing my residency training, I did it at the University College Hospital in Ibadan. And it was
Okay, so
it was
what's the
something.
difference in the
was,
public
was,
hospital and
was
the private?
something. Yes. Mm.
Mm, because I mean, I know that it's a totally different ball game, in the whole public hospital thing. I mean, I remember when I had to take my daughter to see a doctor at Lasut, it was a culture shock for me. Like, what's going on here? Coming from a high-end private hospital to enter into that, I was like, What? It was a real culture shock, and I know that doctors do have to move from one to another. Some people even work in the public hospital and still consult in the private. What do you think can be done to just make things better, make life better for doctors, especially the female doctors?
Okay, so to start with, we doctors in Nigeria are overworked and underpaid. As doctors
Mm,
generally, and that's because
mm,
so we have facilities. The population of Nigeria is quite a bit. You have a number
yeah.
of doctors who would rather travel outside the country because conditions here are not favorable. You don't have the right
Mm,
materials to work with. You don't have equipment. You're not well paid.
mm,
So when that happens, a lot of the doctors, travel, and then you're
mm,
left with doctors who are now overworked. And then to make it worse,
mm,
they're underpaid. Now, when it comes
mm.
to females in Nigeria, in the health sector, and it's not just doctors, in the health sector generally, you have more females. You know that
Okay.
70% of the workforce in the health sector are women.
It's female.
Yes,
Oh
women,
wow. Okay.
with about 90% being nurses. But 70% are
Right.
actually female, and they do a lot of
Okay.
the work. They contribute massively to the health sector. And
Mm,
unfortunately, though, when you come to leadership positions, especially here in Africa,
mm,
just about 5% of them
mm,
are in the leadership positions, which is very sad
mm.
because that it's the leaders that make the decisions in the hospitals.
True.
Exactly. So many
Mm-hmm.
times you have females who they're a lot in the workforce, but they're not there.
Having a
Exactly,
voice,
they
not
don't have
having a
the voice.
say
They
in
can't make
changing things.
decisions. And when you come to the private
Mm,
hospital, to the public hospitals, it's just you have a lot of patients who come in, and for women, it can be a bit, it can be, especially in training, it's a bit tiring. And let me explain because,
mm,
for example, I had a colleague. They were married, husband and wife. I
mm.
remember the guy was
Okay.
senior. And I remember when he was doing his
Mm.
exam, the wife would make sure that she had food, tell the kids, keep quiet, daddy is reading for
That
exams,
is
and
reading.
everything. And
Mm,
then she was my set. And when it came to our turn, she was still cooking, she
mm.
was cleaning, she was doing work,
Nobody
she was taking care of
to
the
take
kids.
the
How
favor.
does that work?
Mm.
It's the same exam, for heaven's sake. Unfortunately,
Ah,
women have to do a whole lot more. And so
absolutely.
it can be very taxing for the woman because they won't say, oh, because you're a doctor you won't do your work. For
You will not. You
example,
will
if you
cook.
get pregnant too during residency, your training is how many so years. If you miss it because of
Mm.
maternity leave, you're going to fall behind. Unfortunately, that's what happens. So
Oh, wow.
if you have one or two, and residency can be 5 years plus, so if you have one or two children,
There's nothing for women to fall pregnant. In 5 years, you will be pregnant now unless you
exactly.
already finished
So if you
boarding.
have one or
Hello.
two pregnancies during residency program, that means that your training will be extended because
Oh
you
my
need to have
goodness. Mm-hmm.
done certain rotations at certain times. If you don't do them, you can't go for exams. So there's so many things that impacts on a woman in the medical career, and I think it might not just be medicine, it might be everywhere, but especially in medical career, it can be a bit
Yeah.
tasking. Yes.
Ah, man, that's painful. Oh. I feel you because I remember when there was a new job I got. I had just had one child. I was newly married. I had one child, and I just got into this new job. I was excited because it was the first time I was working on the island. Big firm. I was so happy. And then they said to me that, oh, by the way, you have to sign. You can't have a baby in the first, was it 1 or 2 years? I was like, excuse, hello, what happened? They said, because I said, no, 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 they should not even bring that. I said, excuse me, this is not a bank. I saw bank. I did not go and take the job in bank. Excuse me, I'm not doing that. The HR was like, oh, but I said, I am not signing that, man. I'm a young married woman. I can get pregnant tomorrow. Hello, what are you saying? I was like, okay, well, I have to understand that it's a business they are running. So if I do fall pregnant before the first year, while they will not hold it against me, they just wouldn't pay for maternity. They were like, okay, that's fine. That's
Mm.
fair. But you can't say I can't get pregnant. Hello. So if I now fall pregnant, I should go and move it or what? I'm not understanding. So I agreed with them. I said, okay, that's fair. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, you've not yet, I've not yet stayed where I want to come and be any maternity. So that was fair. So I agreed, and I signed that. I just feel that people should be able to allow people to have a conversation. We know that you're hiring a young woman. How can you say she should not get pregnant? How can you think you should be allowing spaces for things like that? Because it's a natural facts of life, right? A woman in that age will be pregnant.
Mhm.
If she's married, she'll be pregnant. It's normal. It's the natural progression of things. So I mean, we need to do better. And like you said, we don't have enough women in representation, which is why I always speak to women in management. That the minute you get to management, please change things. Remember how it was for you and make one rule that will make it better for the next woman coming. If we all can do that, life will be better. Even if you find one woman that makes it up to management, remember how it was for you when you were down there
Mm.
and change even one thing that can make life easier. I mean, the day I spoke to the P&G MD, the day I heard her speak at Wimbies, I was so impressed because she was, speaking to us about how they've done so many things for women in the workforce. God, they realized that they had so much turnover of their female staff,
Mm.
especially the ones that, in the
Yeah.
factory. Once they all get pregnant, they don't come back. And they were like, what's going on? So they had to sit down and look through the numbers and they now say, oh, this is what's happening. It's like they get married and they fall away. They get married, they get. So they decided to arrange things to allow them to work well. She even went as far as saying that even if you're in management or something and you had to go for an overseas trip as a woman, they would actually allow you, if your child was under one, allow you to go with a nanny that was paid for.
Nice. That's nice.
I was blown
Wow.
away. I was like, come on. These are people that are thinking. I was so impressed that day. And I said, this is what we need to understand. Once you've been through something, you saw the
Yeah.
stress you went through, the minute you're in
Make
a
it
position
better.
to change things, fix it.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Make life easier for the next person coming. Oh, Amaka, sorry. It's sort of a resume after 1 month. Oh my God, you resumed work after a month.
Wow.
Imagine that. That's crazy. Amaka, you did not send invite to, but I've invited you now. See if you can join us. Thank you for coming in. So I mean, it's a lot. Women's matter is a
Right.
lot. That's why I say we are coming from a lot. But we're going to be sticking to our health conversation today. So I was going to ask you, how does it do you think that there's anything any type of privileges you can get as a woman in the medical field, any at all, any far-fetched,
Hmm.
anything at all? Because I mean, I can think of a few as an architect. I don't know if you can think of any at all, even as a female doctor.
As a female doctor, let's see. Okay, so well, there were some encouragements, especially in my field, because we don't have a lot of female obstetrician gynecologists. Though now we are having a lot more than before, but then we didn't have a lot, so we were encouraged to come in. Unfortunately, most of
Yes.
the time the encouragement is to come in. When you get in, you're treated like there's nothing like you're going. There's
Nothing
nothing
special.
special. Yeah, that's not. You go through the same rigors that the guys are going to go through. So I think the only thing is that they would encourage you to come in. Oh, that's a good thing. We need more women and things like that. But I don't think there's any special thing, any special thing that you would be given or privileges. There was
Yeah.
nothing. It was the
Yeah.
same old rigor, and it's good because I believe that women shouldn't just say, oh, because we're women, they should just give us a seat at
Mm.
the table. No, you fight for it. The only unfortunate thing is that many times we have to fight a whole lot harder than the men to get to that table. A
Absolutely.
whole lot harder.
We're fighting too much. It's too hard. It's too much. It's just too
A whole
much.
lot harder.
You're almost fighting for
I agree.
everything, and it's really, really, really tasking. I like the fact that you mentioned female gynecologists. I personally always look for a female gynecologist. So when I get into a hospital and I see this one young man, I'm like, oh God. And the guys, they are not only guys, they are young guys. So you're thinking, oh, shucks, I do have to open up in front of this one. I don't even know why. Can they even put a rule that men should not even study gynecology? Just please, just go and face other things. Don't stress us. I've heard women say that they actually prefer male gynecologists. I mean, I actually heard one woman say that one day, and I was like, "Oh, are you serious?" For me, I think that we should have a choice. So if we have equal number, and every hospital has at least both, so they can have a choice. Because if I imagine me bringing my teenage girls to the hospital and bringing them in front of a man, they're going to feel very awkward, you know. I mean, like me now, I'm sexually active, so there's nothing we want to show, we want to look at that is going to. I've born for children. I will open my leg with my fingers,
Yeah.
like knock yourself out. There's nothing there. There's nothing new. But for the little girl, the young virgin girl who hasn't even, seen it, it's not when very comfortable opening up in
Mm.
front of a man. So I think they should have options for that
Yeah,
as much as possible.
but there
Okay,
are
so
increasing options
regarding
now,
maternity,
though, because there are more and more females who are doing obstetrics and gynecology. So the options are getting better. You have more and more, especially in the north, especially with religion, they don't want men
mm,
touching their women.
yeah,
So they have
where they
more and
don't
more
want men
female
touching their women.
gynecologists over there. So it's become, but
Mm,
again, don't forget that medicine generally, well, originally was male dominated. Now the women are,
true.
they're finally we're getting into the space and we're doing things.
Mm,
So, but we need more women in surgical specialties, ONG,
yes.
cardiothoracic, neurosurgery, urology, things like that. But again, like I said, you
Mm,
remember that it's tasking, it's demanding. You're being a wife, a mother, you're working. So many times it can be quite difficult. I remember when I wanted to do ONG, my dad's an obstetrician gynecologist too. And I remember telling him,
yeah.
and he was like, why don't you do radiology or ophthalmology, something that is nice and easy?
Something that will
Exactly.
not kill you, that will
Because
stress
you can
you.
imagine you want
Daddy of life.
when you're just preparing to sleep, and then they tell you that, oh, there's a patient, you have to run out in the middle of the night. It can be stressful. So why don't you
Mm,
do for something
yeah.
chilled, internal medicine? And I was like, no, I'll do
Actually, we work
you
nine to
know,
five.
I said, no, I want to do ONG. There were times in residency that I said, who sent me? I need to pack my things and just
Thank
leave.
you.
But we can't do that. We need to get into those fields as women. And it's very
Mm,
important that we do. And that's why we need supportive partners, because the men have to
mm.
be supportive for us to be able to do the work that we do. So
Yeah. Okay. So somebody said that the Lagos State government now gives 4 months paid maternity leave. I think that's impressive.
very impressive.
You know,
And that's
I
my
think that
sister actually.
10, even some. Oh, hi, sis.
Um,
And because even some private companies don't do more than three. So if Lagos give you 4 months pay, that's really
and
impressive.
I'm
I mean,
sure
Lagos
that
has
my
always
boss
been,
is on this call
blazing the trail.
somewhere. We don't give more than 3 months.
I know, right? Even you that you're in hospital.
Yeah, it don't give more than
Oh
three
my
months.
goodness.
So mm.
Oh wow. Doctor Amaka, I think you should get off the call. I don't know if Amaka's been able to join. I can't see her invites. Please get off the call and come back again. Let's try one more time because I have tried to invite you, but I'm not able to get you. And I really want to have that mental health conversation. Please, 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 if you can
It
hear
says
me.
she's
Or
requested.
Denika, if you can
She,
reach her. Yeah, it's not, I'm not seeing the
okay.
request. I'm not seeing it. It's not coming up here. So I'm trying to even invite her, but she's not seeing it either. So maybe she should leave the call and come back in.
Yeah.
Maybe that way we'll be able to see the yeah. All right. So Dr. Ria says that they have a male gynecologist at their hospital. Initially, the women were reluctant, but now they request for him. I know there's something about male gynecologists. They can be a bit kinder. Some women say they'll be like, "I beg, what's doing you? Please get up. It's not this thing all of us are going through." But men that they don't go through with us. You can bend neck for them. So I can understand that.
No, but seriously, some people have
But I
complained
do
about
remember.
female gynecologists that because they go through it. I beg,
Yes,
isn't it pregnancy?
they don't
What
have
is this
empathy like that
little?
too.
Just.
They don't have a lot of empathy. They
Well,
just feel
not
as
me,
if
sure.
my friend
Yeah,
stand
me,
up,
I'm a
what's doing
very
you?
nice one.
I know, I know they are different. But I mean, I cannot forget the female gynecologist that I had when I had my second child. So my first child was a CS and it was emergency CS. So I didn't go through any labor,
Yeah.
nothing. I just born the child, But my second child was a was it was it was a vaginal birth, and I remember that it was a female gynecologist that came to me. So at the end of the thing, she was like, "Oh, they had to do a suture. What do you call that thing?
Epithelial
And the
therapy.
child got small, so she was now trying to." sew the thing back. And she said to me, "Don't worry, I'll arrange you well." Don't,
So
and
I
I was just
try to
laughing.
again.
But so because we had that conversation, like I kind of felt very at ease, because it was a woman.
Mhm.
Fast forward to my next child that was vaginal, it was a man. That time it was in the US, I went to have the baby, and I looked everywhere for a female. In fact, I started by looking for female black doctor, I didn't find. I went to white female doctor, I did not find. Okay, black male doctor, I didn't find. A white male doctor, it was very enough because I think my time was short and none of them were very booked.
Okay.
So I eventually found a Jewish male doctor, and he was the one that but he was such a sweet man, very, 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 very professional, and I completely enjoyed myself. And in fact, he even told me that, "Don't worry, I got you. By the time I'm done with that place, your husband will be calling me to thank me." I was like, come on, no. But yeah, people should be given options in the workplace. It's important to have these conversations. Okay, so Dr. Ria is saying, as a woman, you still have to go home and take care of your family, handle your hobbies, emotions, and the kids' expectations. You also have to manage your own cyclical issues without
Exactly.
them showing. I know it's a lot. It is a lot, and that's why I kind of I'm very patient with doctors. I don't know why. I just kind of feel them. I kind of feel them because I'm like, this is not easy, cannot be easy. I already know that I cannot do it. So when I see people doing something I cannot do, I'm always, well, just bear with them. Even if I meet someone and they're having a bad day, I'm like, just bear with them. Doctor
Mm.
work is not easy, please. They'll be okay. But later, of course, you don't even want them to, do anything that you feel like is out of line and we call you out. But most of the time, I'm feeling a bit of empathy towards them because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work. And it's even the mental work, the emotional work that goes with it
Yeah.
as well as the physical hard work. So tell us about this. Have you ever felt like, we women are emotional beings. Have you ever felt sometime in your work life, right? You did something and that you really felt so emotional, maybe so connected to the patient. Are you able to, detach yourself from things? Tell us. Because me, I don't think I can. Amaka has sent
Okay.
a request. I think finally
Okay. So sometimes, so
see her now.
one of the things that you're taught as a doctor is to be, so you're empathetic, but you're kind of emotionally detached because you know that in medicine
Mm.
somehow you get to lose a patient, and you cannot, for your mental health, so that you do not break down. You have to, be detached, kind of. And I
Yeah.
remember one case, yes, when I was doing my residency. She was a woman that
Yeah.
had been on admission for a few months. She had had infertility, had taken time, for her to get that baby. And she had
Mm.
preeclampsia around, was it 25 weeks or 26 weeks? I can't remember exactly again. And so we told her that we wanted to terminate the pregnancy and that we weren't sure of the
Oh.
chances for that baby since the baby was still so young.
Ah.
But she insisted, she said she was going to have this baby. She was going to carry it as long as possible. And she kept getting worse. And preeclampsia it can affect all the organs in your system. Her kidneys began to shut down,
Oh,
her
wow.
liver.
Oh, wow.
And we kept insisting, we kept telling her, and she insisted she was going to have that baby. I remember the
Ah.
hospital lawyer even came up because she had had infertility for years, almost like 10 years or something. And
Wow.
I remember
How many weeks
she was
was this pregnancy?
about 26 weeks at the time. So,
Oh,
so
it
we
was
kept her
young.
teeth. I think eventually so they called the hospital lawyer. Everybody, you had to show that
You had
everybody
done
had
it.
spoken
You
to
had
her,
advised her
everybody had
properly.
advised her, and she had insisted. So I think, was it 32 weeks or 33 weeks? We eventually delivered the baby. The baby made it. Unfortunately, she
Hmm.
did not.
Oh, wow.
And so she had been in the hospital for so long.
Oh.
It was emotional for everybody. I almost lost it that day. It was crazy. But it's the same thing. We've had patients who had cancer who will say, "Oh, you need to terminate," and say, "No, I'm going to give this baby a chance," and they know that that might mean their death, and they still, women are amazing creatures. Forget, and they'll still go ahead and say, "I want
Right.
this baby," So things like that. Sometimes you're just devastated. It's just crazy, you know. I don't know. Imagine it can be crazy
Ah,
sometimes.
even me, I'm just hearing the matter. See how I'm feeling. Talk more of you that would have been there and I've won the woman and I've talked to her and I've counseled and everything. And I'm like, ah, come on. Ah, it is really well. So, okay, that is a perfect example of where your emotions you have to hold them, tie them back, but you cannot even help it. That's it. That one is a lot. Goodness. Okay. Hello, hello. Please call this your
Her
sister's name for me. I
name is
can't pronounce
Elo
it.
Ukatu.
El, okay, hello, Katsu. Okay, she just put them together. Women also have an extra layer of approval to go through when given opportunities in the workplace, whereas men can give prompt responses when opportunities present themselves. I know, right? I mean, I was talking to a couple the other day, and they were saying to me how his wife was the first woman who was ever given expatriate position to go and work in Ghana, and it was because before that time it was only men they would send, because if they give women, they had to explain to the husband has to agree. Long story, but why his wife got it was because he had already been sent by his company, so he
Ghana
was in Ghana
already.
already, and he just wanted his wife to be working.
Mm.
Yes. So my goodness, I had preeclampsia. So as you are speaking, I'm just thinking of, whoa, what God did for me. Because mine was at 37
Okay.
weeks. So as soon as it was discovered, they just told me, no story. Please just go and check yourself in there. We're taking out the
Mm.
baby. I was telling the doctor that, no, I want to push. The doctor looked at me and said, you may have to go to the hospital. He said, because he said, you know what? Let me explain to you. He said, you know what's wrong with you now? People, the kind of BP that people just be walking around, just fall down and
That's
die.
good.
That's what's wrong with you. I said, he said, did I get your attention? I said, yes, now get into the room. We're going to take out the baby now. I said, yes, sir. Like he got me. I
Mm-hmm.
called my mom and said, whatever he says, let's do it. I said, because I was so shocked. I was still thinking, oh no, I've carried this baby. I'm going to push Hebrew mountains. Just to say, hey, you go to the hospital. It's not me and you. Go. And it was this old gynecologist. So, I've been bamboozling the young ones. So they brought the MD. Oh, they said, it's not me. No, I'm not doing that with you. You will go. So I can't. I didn't even know that it was that bad. Like that it could shut down.
But
Other organs and all
everything.
of that. Oh wow. God is merciful. Hey, we cannot get Amaka in. I don't know what to
But I
do.
thought you
And the
said you
last time she
saw her
sent an invite,
request.
I saw it. I saw it, and I clicked accept. I saw her own. I saw delegates, and I clicked accept, but now I can't see them anymore. I don't know what's going on.
She should try again.
It's pain.
Maybe
It's
it's her
paining me.
network.
And please try again. It's got to be the network, maybe network on your side, because when you went out and came in, I saw it. So if you do try go out and come in again, you'll probably be able to see it. So I'm thinking about women. The life of a woman is God that will help us. So are there times in your life as a doctor that you feel like you need to take a break, because of course the work is tasking. So maybe during pregnancy, maybe when you have a young baby, is it possible? I mean, there's some lady who said she went back to work at one when her baby was a month. I don't know if she's a doctor as well. I'm just thinking, like, is there any time when you think like it's too much and I need to take a break, or do we always have to just go, 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 go? Because we're trying to rush for the same thing as the men are going. What do you think?
Okay, so well,
And
again,
what would you say to any woman who is a young doctor and thinks, okay, I think I need to step back and have my babies and go back to work? What would you say?
again, it's okay to step back if you think you can't cope, especially now that people are dealing with a lot of mental health issues and nobody is talking about it. And a lot of women in the medical space are actually dealing with a lot of mental health issues because you're overworked at work, you're still doing your house chores, being a wife, being a mother, you're taking care of your parents. So
Mm,
quite a number of women actually have mental health issues. And because they're
mm.
also medical professionals, they're a bit weary to go and seek for help. Sometimes they think, oh, I know what's
Yeah.
wrong. I can do this. So sometimes they self medicate. when it shouldn't be so. So if you think you need a break, definitely, why not? I remember when I was pregnant for my daughter, first trimester, it was really bad. I was throwing up all over the place, and for whatever reason, I was dizzy that first trimester. I spoke to my boss and I said I couldn't operate that first trimester. My second trimester was good. Went back to my surgeries, and that was it. But again, don't forget, it's not everybody that will have an understanding boss. It's not everybody that would,
Yeah.
that would say, oh, or it's not everybody that can talk to their boss and say, "Oh, I need to do this." Me, I don't. Me, I'll tell you,
Yeah.
I can't cope. You know. So for me, first trimester, I didn't do most of my surgeries, but subsequently, I was good. I was operating till I went on maternity leave. So if you think you need to have a break, why not? And as I say, sometimes for some women, they say, "Oh, you can't have everything." I say you can have everything, maybe not at the same time. So if you think
Yeah.
that at this time I can combine, then you can maybe have your babies, let them grow a bit, or let them be a bit older, and then come back. I had a friend in residency. Her kids were already in secondary school. She came back her residency training. By the time we were leaving, she was 50 because her kids were already
Wow.
grown, and then she just came back. She had been doing being a medical officer all this while. They came back and did her residency training. So
Yeah.
you can
Because to be honest,
often
there are
something you
no
can
rules
do.
for this thing. Like my mother says, you cannot follow somebody else's timetable,
Exactly.
right? Do what you can. If it's important to you to be there for your kids, do it. If you can't cope, can't do both together, do it. And we say this to women in every career. We've had the same conversations. When we had Ayo here last week, talking about women in the arts, we're talking about women in entertainment and all of that. Sometimes you may just feel like it's
Yeah.
too much, right? And it's okay to step back. It's very okay because mental health is
Yeah.
critical. You don't want to, burn out while trying to do everything and be
Mhm.
everything to everybody, which is why we have to get Amaka. Holy Spirit, help us with this network.
I'm like,
We gotta get
how
Amaka
we
on this
need you here.
conversation.
What, what's going on here?
I don't know why. I'm seeing her request. I'm trying to accept it, but it's for whatever reason, it's not. She's not accepting. It's not, and I've seen it's not even only hers. I'm seeing like three other people. So that means the request thing is coming
Okay,
through.
so
But I'm
when you click
clicking
on it, what
accept now.
happens?
It's just nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing happens.
Mm.
I'm clicking accept and
Okay,
nothing
click
is happening.
on somebody else and let's see what happens. Because it might be, maybe it's a
Okay.
matter of network.
Okay. So let me click on somebody else. This Okpara. Let me click on Onye. Let me see if Onye's on go. See, Onye's came through.
Hello, sis.
Like I don't
Hello.
get it.
Okay,
What's happening?
Hello, sisters.
hello.
Hi, I wanted to just try to see whether it was our network that was
So maybe it's
problem
Okay, well,
or
her
Amaka's.
we can see
network.
it now.
Okay, Amaka, it's you that is Okpara. Okay, let me try that one then.
Okay.
Onye, you can now go. Bye bye.
Bye. Sister Onye,
Should I remove
you need
myself?
Okay,
to go out and come back
I
in.
want to take myself. Okay.
Yes, you need to go out and
yes,
come back
please.
in. Okay.
Amaka, we can't see your face. We are seeing the other side of the camera. We're seeing the other side of the camera. We can't see your face. Hi, Ayo. And now your video is off. Let's know if you're the one. Let's know if you can join our conversation so that we can get right into it. See, now everybody else that had invites are all being accepted, except, okay, Amaka Okpara You are not the Amaka we're expecting to to
The
talk to.
Amaka we're expecting. The Amaka we're expecting is
It's
yeah.
Omoike. Oh yeah, you can exit too. Just letting me know that my invite button is working. If two of you are able to get in, I'm not wondering why Amaka that we need to talk to is not able to
But
come in.
Amaka, please send another request.
So Okpara Amaka, you can exit the live. Is that okay? You can go out so that we
Can she
can.
hear us?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, she's heard us. She's gone out now.
Okay.
Okay, so while we oh, this is painful.
Well, let her
I
try.
had to just try the others because I was not thinking whether it was me that wasn't able to accept people anymore. I was confused. So Maka, we're still going to be trying and see. We still have some more minutes on the call. See if we can get you in. So, Dr. Chichi, we have you here today. So before you go, you have to tell us, women are, there are a lot of women on the call. Our ages, I would believe, are between 35, 45, or 50 thereabouts. And we're thinking, please tell me,
Finally,
Amaka that came in.
Lord.
Tell me,
Oh,
Amaka that came in. Yay! Praise the Lord.
Finally.
What?
What is this? Oh my God.
But we have to give you A for resilience. Man, you didn't give up. Well done.
Zero eventually told
Oh,
me to restart my phone. I restarted.
Oh, okay.
oh, right. Ah, ah. Because what kind of
I'm
thing is
telling
this?
you.
Like, he's
What's this
telling
drama
me.
about? But
Welcome.
well done. Very insightful conversation.
Mm.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you so
Doc.
much for
Thank you for
joining.
standing in for us.
So we wanted to talk about. Doc mentioned something. We're talking about women in the health sector, and she said many of them are suffering from mental health because it's a huge mental load that they are carrying. Apart from the fact that they have to care for their families, they have to manage their husband's emotions. They have to manage their boss's emotions at work. They have to also deal with patients, carry patients' pains and angers and fears and everything. They're going through a lot. What do you think? What would be your advice for women in this sphere on how they should care for their mental health? Tell us.
All right. Thank you very much again. I'm happy that I finally joined.
We are too happy.
Anyways, everybody, if let me start from Lagos, right? If you live in Lagos, Nigeria,
You're already a candidate.
if you live in Lagos, Nigeria, you should be seeing a therapist. In fact, I was talking to somebody 2 days
I
ago,
concur.
and I said at least every 3 months. The person said
I
no,
agree.
right? So
We are
living in
coming from
Lagos
alone.
alone, just you don't stress yourself. You just live in Lagos. You need a therapist. You need to see a therapist at least once a month, right? Then with
Just
all of
living
that,
here.
you know why? The truth is, you know why? Especially for those doctors, I feed them, and I work with some of them. The truth is everybody comes and drops their load, their baggage
Drop
on them,
on them. Mm.
right? So they are human. Remember that they are mothers, sisters,
Mm-hmm.
daughters, friends.
Wives.
They are wives. They are now colleagues. They are business people. Some of them multitask in that
Mm-hmm.
dimension.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of that on one person. Let me first say kudos. You guys are doing
Good.
incredibly well. All
Good.
right.
Well done. Well,
You guys
we
are doing
love it.
incredibly well, right? However, you need to be
Absolutely.
able to develop that intentionality as regards self-love.
Mm.
We need it to be our
Mm.
life.
Mm.
It's important that you are, especially in this jack buying season,
Ah.
you need to
Hmm.
be alive. Trust me, because a lot
Mm.
of people are already gone, all right, and a lot of people are planning to go
Mm.
on a norm, right? In mental health, for instance, we have one. therapies to several hundreds of people. All right, so imagine that you break down. That would be more chaotic.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, because you're
Right?
unbalancing the odds. We don't have enough people already before
Yes.
you now want to go and take your own self out.
So
Now.
we need to be able to take that time out to love yourself. And then if you see a therapist, they will be able to, there's a skill that allows you to detach yourself from the environment. That allows you to detach yourself from what you do. All right? You need to be able to see a therapist to learn that skill.
It's so important.
All right, so that you will be able to save yourself. You know where to draw the lines. You know where when your emotions begin to get on the line, because you're human, right? Sometimes you're a doctor. Let's take for instance, you're a doctor, a medical personnel, and somebody came to the hospital and the person is critically ill, but they don't have money. All right, and you have a system that doesn't allow you to treat the person. So your humanity will set in. You can't afford to pay for the person, and you can't go against your system. If you don't know that skill, it's going to first of all weigh you down. If there's any recommendation you would have been able to make for the person, you won't be able to make it because you'll be overtaken by your emotions. All right. So it's important that you all of us. Sometimes when we're saying you,
it's all of us. So we are all in it together. So
people like Brenda, there's a mother to 5. She will do architecture, she will write, she will do other businesses, and then she will still come online.
Don't add one more.
All right, okay. She will still come online, and she's an incredible wife. So
I'm going through a lot. I need
So this is us talking to you and saying we need you to be alive. All right. Absolutely. We need you to take care of you. We need to know, again, it goes back to understanding your person, understanding your strength, understanding your not too strong areas. All right, and be able to know what to do when you get to your wit's end, and don't permit yourself to break down totally before you excuse yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, I can relate to what you just said, because yesterday I was going through, I had such a busy day. I went to work and my 2 assistants were not in the office. So I don't know how 2 of them took time off at the same time. I just found I was alone, and there was all kinds of things, back-to-back meetings. I was like, what is going on? By the time I left the office by 5 o'clock, my head was banging, and I was fasting. So and I said, well, at this point, I can't even continue.
God has answered.
Please, somebody had birthday and they shared cake. I said, I think I need sugar. Bring a slice of that cake to me. Let me understand myself. Because what's on this? As I go home, I kissed my children. I kissed my husband. I said, only I have to sleep. I don't understand you. I just have to sleep. And I slept. And I woke up this morning and I felt better. Because I was like, headache from where? I don't normally have headaches. I was truly confused. But my head was banging on my body. I was like, no. Let's go and sleep. Even this fast, I abandoned you. Not make it Jesus. I'm done. I said, God, you see me, you hear me. I don't do it again. But so yeah, it's important to know where to draw the line. And I just say this to say that. So, Dr. Amaka, I'll come back to you. 1 minute. Dr. Chichi was going to say to us the few things that women need to consider. Like, I want to come back to you about, mental health things that women need to consider for themselves, because all of us are in it together. Whether you're a doctor, you are a cook, you are a banker, you are a stay-at-home, anything, we are all in it together. We all need mental health care. And I'm so excited that these days, these things are important, because our mothers went through this, but they had nobody to talk to, right? Yeah. They couldn't voice it. They would just sit down. Instead, they would lash the anger on us, the children. Do you understand? That's how many of us are still going through the trauma from the aggression that they transferred from our fathers, annoying them to us. So we have to do better. right? Because
Yeah.
we now know better, so we must do better. So this is why we're having these conversations about, mental health and mental and care for yourself. So, but before we come back to you, I want Dr. Chichi to tell us about the physical health things that women need to look out for. Because I had a conversation with some women just over the weekend, and somebody was talking about, we need to go to spas, we need to do all of this, and when we're like, it's true, hey, we need to do this, we need to do that. Somebody asked, what about your annual check? And they're like, someone said, I don't even have doctor. Where do I start from? And I was like, auntie, you don't have doctor, we can't help you there. But in case any of those my friends are on this call, please, what should they look out for if they have to go and do their annual health,
Okay, so
annual health check? Because we're not young anymore. At least I think the average age here should be like
yeah.
35 to 45.
Yeah.
So we're not youngsters anymore. So we need to care for our
So
bodies.
one of the things I always say about women is that women's care is essential. And one of the reasons why you need to care for yourself is that, one, preventive. And there's so many things that, of course, that are preventive. First, your diet. What do you eat? You can't eat the way you were eating when you were younger. You eat all the carbohydrates, the pastries, and the drinks.
And ice
Exactly.
creams and co.
So I'm not saying that you should deny yourself of these things, but they should be treats. It shouldn't be the norm. And I'm talking to myself, especially me and Coke. No, but seriously.
What did they say for doctors with
And
Coke? Dr. Eria is also
no,
in
no,
that
so you
Coke
see, let me tell
department.
you what happens with Coke. You see, when you're because of the kind of work we do, many times you're stressed, you just need sugar, and Coke gives you that sugar rush. So it's just ideal. You haven't eaten,
You
get
try.
me a bottle of Coke.
Drink
No,
water.
no, no,
Water
you
is good.
need sugar. Coke, water doesn't have the sugar that you need. So that's one of the things. Diet. Our diets, as you get older, you need to eat better. More fruits, more vegetables, less carbohydrates, less refined foods. Your rice, your pasta, all the pastries and they need to go. Packed juice, all those things. So you should eat with a lot of veggies, a lot of fruits at that age. It's very good for you. And then don't forget that your metabolism slows down a bit. You're not burning as fast as you would do when you're younger. You're probably not as active anyway. So you're sitting down in your desk most of the time. So you need to eat better. Another thing to watch out for is exercise. Many of us don't exercise.
I
We live
don't.
sedentary lives. And I tell people that you don't necessarily have to go to the gym, except if you're like me and you know that by yourself you will not do anything. So please register in the gym if you're like me. But if not, if you think you're disciplined, why not take a quick walk around your compound? You can walk. You can skip. You can dance. So they have dance videos. You can do that exercise at least for 5 to 1 hour, 3 times a week. Very important. And those are things as in lifestyle modifications that you can do. Ensure that you're not smoking. Smoking is a no-no in whatever form. And then reduce your alcohol intake. And then we talk about the preventive things. There's so many things you can do. There are vaccines for women, your HPV, prevention of cervical cancer. You have the hepatitis vaccine that helps you prevent the hepatitis B vaccine, prevention of hepatitis B. And you have different other things that you can do.
That hepatitis B, sorry to cut you, that hepatitis B vaccine, they only give us at pregnancy. Are we supposed to be going to collect it every time?
Okay, so now, for example, for all those that are at risk, health workers, commercial sex workers, all those people, you know that it's mandatory. It's a job, you're laughing, but it's a job now. You know, my sis.
Wahala.
So, health
Wahala.
workers, commercial sex workers, people that are at risk in any form, you're supposed to have complete your dose of hepatitis and actually take booster doses every 10 years. So, if you request for, why not?
Every how many years?
10 years, booster doses.
Okay.
Yes. So,
my last baby is 7. I'm still covered.
so yes. So if you request for it, why not? Yeah, nobody will deny you. Then the HPV vaccine. Right now, I think they included it in immunization for young girls. That's very good, so that you reduce the risk of having cervical cancer later in life. So things like and then we also have preconception care. Many times women get pregnant without planning to get pregnant, and many times they're not optimized for pregnancy. Some people have existing conditions that get worse in pregnancy. Some have conditions while pregnant that are triggered by pregnancy. So you need to be sure that you are fit to get pregnant. Unfortunately, many people just get pregnant, they never check. And then
Nobody checks.
one of the good things about it is also contraception. That's why you should need to ensure that you have a well woman care or a well woman check. Many times we say the contraception is to ensure that you have the number of children you want to have and then the adequate spacing that is needed so that you can rest between pregnancies. We know that women that have children too often have issues from anemia to not getting their bodies back. There's so many things, increased risk of preeclampsia.
Yeah.
So you want to be able to rest, your body is rested, you're fully back in your pre-pregnant state before you take on another pregnancy. And that's where contraception comes in. And even for people who can use the modern contraceptive, you teach them things. You have the Billings method, the calendar. They have other things that they can do. We know they're not
We teach the natural
Sorry?
one in our church. We teach
Exactly.
natural contraception. We teach natural contraception in our church. And the thing is, I hear people say that, oh, the Catholics don't agree on contraception. No, actually, we don't have a problem with contraception. What we don't want is artificial contraception. So we teach you natural contraception because you cannot just collect all the children in heaven. They have to go around.
Right. So
plan your family.
So things like that, and then of course you need to screen for all these disease, hypertension, diabetes, all those things, and that's what you can only do that if you get yourself checked, you know. And there are other things, especially as you begin to hit your 40s, for example. You know that the breast examination is important, both as a breast self-examination and then mammograms. And if you have a family history, for example, you must be checking at least 10 years before that person was diagnosed. So if the person was diagnosed at 46, for example, a family history, then you should start checking at 36. Yes. So there's so many things that if you go for a well woman care, it would help you with. And we also have a lot of bleeding, issues with bleeding. And there's so many things that can cause bleeding, from fibroids to adenomyosis to polyps. It's just a myriad of things. You wouldn't know if you don't check.
Me, even the name they are calling is giving me headaches. Like, what is this? Who did we offend? Hey, God.
Unfortunately, the reproductive organ, there's so many things that can just go wrong. But God will help us. Like you said,
amen.
So when you go to the hospital and have a baby and come out whole and ill, you know what God has done for you.
I'm telling you. So there's so many things to check, and then as you get older, you start dealing with menopausal symptoms. You start dealing with things like stress incontinence. Some people, once they sneeze, a little urine will leak. You know, all these things happen as you get old. You've never heard of it. What happens?
Age. It's age now. I know.
Age, childbirth, all those things. So these are reasons why you need to get yourself checked. It's when you get yourself checked that you can get a solution for it. So there's so many things that that women should check. And I say, every year you should have a checkup, not just for hypertension, diabetes, a full checkup from head to toe. You're doing all your work, you're doing your kidney function, liver function, you're doing an ECG, you're doing echo, you're doing all the reproductive ones. You're checking for your cervix, you're checking for breast, and do all the checks as much as you like. I know people like say, it's not me in Jesus' name. But then sometimes these things happen. So you need to know ahead.
Jesus is our insurance in this Nigeria. Jesus is our insurance.
And you know that the earlier, especially in some of these things, the earlier you know, the better your prognosis. Exactly. So women should please check themselves.
I mean, a friend of mine said a few days ago that it's how she remembers it's her birthday gift to herself. So every year on her birthday, she does an annual medical check. And then she checks herself into a spa for, full massage and things. I'm like, hey, one more. But she's a doctor anyway, so maybe because she knows knows better. She can
Not
do
necessarily,
better. I don't
not
know.
because she's a doctor. I'm sure my sister is going
I was,
to, my sister is
I was,
going to
I
kill
was
me.
tripping for her,
Not
man.
all doctors do that.
That's what I'm
She's
saying.
just
Don't stop
intentional
taking
about
me. It's not
herself.
because she's a doctor.
Not
Let's
all
hide
doctors
on
do
this call. She's going to kill
Doctors are
me.
the worst
No, I
patients.
don't.
Yeah.
Okay, she's
Doctors
going
are
to kill me. I
the
remember
worst
a
patients.
few years back, I asked her, I said, have you done a pap smear? And she said, no. I said, you're a doctor. You mustn't be head outside. I told her, you can't do one. So there are many doctors actually who don't do it.
Are guilty.
But it's so, it's everybody. We need to put it in mind. Instead of when saying that, you know how women want to relax, I want to spa, I want to go on a shopping spree. Medical check,
Add,
very important.
add a medical
Exactly.
check. True. True. Thank you so much, Dr. Chichi. That was really, really very enlightening. And I think that most of us have received sense. Please go and book places like Mikio, and we have several labs now, Synlab, Mikio, Clinic, what's the other one called? Clinic, and all kinds of them. And they have a package. If you just walk into them and say, I want to do a medical checkup, they ask you what's your, of course, there's one for women, there's one for men, and it's actually affordable. And even if it wasn't, you are worth more than that. Save towards it, right? Because at the end of the day, it's who is alive that can buy bag and buy wig and buy shoe and buy everything.
Yeah.
So, hello, how about we prioritize this? So, thank you very, very much for that conversation now. So, we're back to Amaka. Amaka, our a lot, airports. What are the things because we've been having a conversation on the International Women's Day, and so the entire month of March we've been talking to women, and we've been talking. See now, so yes, she doesn't joke that I'm not
I'm
joking.
trying
These are
to
my role
correct
models.
you, man.
These are my role models. This life. Everybody should just be like that. Absolutely. So we've been talking about women in the different health sector, the different sectors really. We've talked to women in media, we've talked to women in STEM. Then we're talking to the tech people. Then we now say this STEM did not cover doctors, so let's come back. Let's come back to health. So we talked to women in the arts and entertainment, and now we're in women in health. And so I decided to bring two of you from the different sides of health. She's talked about physical health. You were talking about our mental health. Because mental health is so key nowadays. I mean, kudos to the Gen Zs that made us, think about our mental health. Because those people,
Everything
they
is
are the ones
Special
who
doctors
breed.
for my mental health. They're the mental health
everything.
people.
Everything is mental health for those guys. But I mean, you got to love them because they're prioritizing what is important. And the more of us can actually prioritize our mental health, the better we will be, to be honest. And it's not to say don't be, it's not to say be selfish. It's to just say love yourself enough to know when to stop. And so let's speak to us about what are the things we should look out for. You know how women are the carriers of the world. We want to help the whole world. We are saviors. We just feel like we're saviors. So how can we help ourselves, to stop ourselves from breaking down? What should we look out for, and when should we pause?
All right, beautiful conversation. One of the things we need to know is that first, we are a limited resource. We are humans and we are limited resource. Okay, and we need to understand that. You see those people that are in our lives, many of them love us more than we think they do. Especially if you're a parent. I hardly finish any conversation without saying it. Take care of yourself because of your children. If you don't have another reason, this is Lagos, Nigeria, Abuja, wherever you live. This is 21st century, 2024. I hope you see the realities on ground. You see what dollar is saying. Have you ever thought about a child who doesn't have a mother? Or have you ever thought about the fate of the orphan? How many times is some of us here? I can see some of us here that every now and again look out for other people. What's the percentage of people who go looking out for them? Truth is, there are people who you think that in your life now, sorry to say, you had truth, right? That will not be that committed to your children if you're not there.
True.
It's the truth.
True.
It's the
They
gospel
are
truth.
committed to your children now because on their birthday, you are the one who come out to say, it's XYZ's birthday, or everybody will not jump to your house. Otherwise, they forgot, and they didn't forget intentionally. They forgot because
they are busy. Life is happening.
True.
you understand. So do your best to be alive. Stay alive for all of this thing that she just said. Do them, even if you don't want to do it for you. Do it because you're important to your husband, you're important to your mother, you're important to your sister, you're important to your children. All right. Then, for some of us who are CEOs or who work in organizations who are in management, help us to push mental health trainings in your organization. They don't know that if you are not whole, if you are battling with childhood trauma, you will not be your best at the workplace. Just it. Come in and say
Is it true? Is it
something that reminds you of what happened to you when you were a child. And you will snap.
Triggers you and
No,
you just feel.
No, it's not the customer. Touch something. Do you understand? So if you want people to deliver optimally, you need to pay a little more attention. Please, if a management or you serve in any capacity, or you have the ears of people who run organizations, who own businesses, help us to let them know that it's critical. And this is not just about the woman. It's about everybody. We're having this conversation right now. That's even a level of care. Men don't have this kind of conversation. They hardly.
Very true.
That's why some of them
Nobody's
come and die.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you
They
understand?
don't talk about it.
Trust me, every woman on this call today will make an effort. Let's even say we are 100 here. There is at least 10% or 5% that will make an effort. That's because the conversation we had a conversation. What if we didn't have the conversation?
True.
Do you understand? So help us to push it so that the fathers of our children can be alive, our husbands can be alive, our fathers can be alive. All right. Intentionally
So
see a
hear
therapist. What happens is that if you have a personal therapist, right? What happens is they can give you a package that reduces your cost. If you have a conversation with them, they can give you a package that helps you do a 12 months instead of pay. Because if you see me every month, you will pay more than if I have a program with you that is running for 12 months. What that also will do for you is that if you give you access, so you can always stop by on WhatsApp to say, hey coach, this and that is going on. All right. We also need to intentionally create a safe space in our families, in our homes. I kid you not, even though we are saying Gen Zers are trying, I don't know what will become of Generation Alpha yet. You know why? They are the ones that stay hours in traffic trying to commute to and from school. If you live in Aja or you commute from Aja, Awoyaya to Lekki, you need help.
You need therapy.
True. True.
Do you understand? Because it's insane how people can stay 4 hours, 5 hours in one place, engaging in nothing, stressing out their brain.
Seriously, what you're saying, especially with kids, it's a problem. You see children who wake up so early, join school buses at 5:30, 6 a.m. It's crazy.
I don't get it.
Some of them don't go to school. That the school that is around where I won't mention name, a very beautiful school, except that they are dealing with traffic daily, and that's why my children will not go to that school. Why? Some of them stay in traffic. They will leave home that time you talked about. They eventually don't get to school. At 11, they are still in traffic.
Wow.
But then they're getting to school,
and the school won't tell you. Now you will come back and begin to complain that your children are not doing very well with the academics. But they were not taught. And the school won't tell you. All right? That's why it's important. When we say get friendly with your children, that's what we mean. So that you can have conversation. Real life. How was your day today? Ask open-ended questions. If you don't know how to ask, it's a skill. If you come into class, we'll teach you how to do it. But you need to ask open-ended questions. You don't ask yes and no questions. When you're parenting, don't ask yes or no questions. Ask questions that allow people to talk, to say, this happened today, that happened today. If ask questions like, what's it about school today that you didn't like? All right.
It's different from
what's it about school today that you liked? This course, this subject that you're not doing very well, what's it? This teacher you don't like, why don't you like the teacher? Right? Recently, I discovered that the scores of children scores, right, can actually be low because of a bully in their class. Not the teacher, another kid in the class who is a bully, who the teacher probably doesn't even know about. All right. So create, as much as possible, create an atmosphere that's enabling in your home. Create a safe space. And if you're in an abusive relationship, see a therapist, see a coach, have conversations. If it's something you can handle, handle it. If not something you can handle, please use the door.
Use the door.
I already use the door.
Use the door.
Love yourself enough to leave. Yes. And this is not to say,
you know why? Because your parents
leave.
would rather you are divorced than you are dead.
True.
You rather co-parent than your child is motherless or fatherless. There are certain things that will never happen, even if your marriage packed up. They will never happen as long as you're alive.
True.
Even if you like live in the UK, let them live in Nigeria. Because they know that someday you enter flight and come back. It won't happen. It's not the same thing as being dead. All right.
Thank God I miss it.
A lot of women are choked. So you handle all of these things. You know, there's a whole lot to talk about. A lot of women were being abused before now. You don't work. What are you bringing to the table? What are you bringing to the table? Right now, women have gone out to go and bring something to the table.
Sister, do you want us to have
and
this
is now causing a lot of problem at home. We are having damaged people. We are having abused children.
That table, don't let us go there. Don't close today.
I think let's not go there because we'll leave here today, please. Let's not go there.
So, also, generally, on a general note, right? Please, let's do our best to see a therapist. At least there are systems, there are structures that can help you to regain yourself, to put certain things in place in your family. There's some systems that will help you manage work. In fact, the truth is that is if you understand your personality type, only that, if you understand personality type only, it will at least reduce the possibility of your breaking down mentally by at least 20%. You know why? You will know how to deal with you and you know how to deal with others. All right? So it's important to understand personality type, how they function, how they work, why they do the things they do. Sometimes they're not doing it because they want to hurt you, even though you cried all night. They just, that's who they are.
That's who they are. And that thing you just said is so profound. I mean, it was something that happened to me like in the beginning of my marriage, when I used to think my husband was very weird. And he's a lovely human being, but guess what? The worry behavior that makes them say things. They can say anything, and it's play. The worry guy can abuse you, say your father, that kind of thing, and he's playing. But you could be like, my father? Like, how did you go there?
My father.
So
is that how disrespectful you are?
You understand? So, but you had to. So it took understanding that this is how this person is. For me to know that it's not about me. He's not trying to insult me. He's not trying to be wicked to me. This is how he is. I mean, and I think that it was a game changer when I saw him relate with his sister. Like, I always know that he loves his sisters. Like, he's crazy about his sisters. And then the one that he loves the most among all of them. One day I saw, I was like, I think she put up a picture and I was like, see your wawa face. What is so fine about this picture? And I was like, hey, in my head, I'm like, how can you say that? And she was laughing. And I thought, okay, oh, this is normal. Immediately, I had to understand that, okay, so when I dress up and I say, what are you feeling like? He's not yapping me. That's how he is. So I had to stand up by myself, face the mirror, and say, Brenda, you fine, Sha. I will not look at myself. He's like, who is deceiving this one? I beg go. I said, but I beg, I have eyes, I can see, and I just killed that. For the longest time, I'll be like, how can you not compliment me? I'll do hair, you not see me. The man does not. It's not in him. He's not there. You can't give what you don't have. It's not there. So understanding that that's how it was, remove the pressure of me feeling like, oh, it's because he doesn't love me or he's not seeing me. He's not. Now, come on. As I enter, God being so kind, now gave me son that can compliment for Africa. I just mommy, oh, is that a new shirt? Oh, mommy, I love your hair. Oh, mom, I say, oh God, you are good. So I'm not even saying any son of man that is not saying me. Don't worry, we're okay. So what you said is really powerful, like understanding yourself so that you know how to relate with others and also how to, relate with yourself and what to expect from yourself. It's really powerful. As much as we can, we should know ourselves, our family members. That personality test is critical.
Yes.
Know our family members, know what they take. Do it for yourself, your husband, your children. It's a game changer even in parenting.
Yes.
Because I have 4 children that all 4 of them are different. And I was like, who did I offend? What kind of thing? You cannot even say, okay, 2 are like this, 2 are like this. What is this? But when I did that test, I could get it. I immediately understood how they were, and I could modify my behaviors to each one. There's one child that you can tell that, my friend, oh, get out of here, Charlie, what's wrong with you? And that will just laugh with you. Another one will be like,
be moody throughout.
You said I should get out. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? My friend, so you have to understand which one that you can play that kind of play with, the one that you cannot, the one that you can, and I was like, okay, now I get it. So, I mean, is really important. I can totally relate to that. Thank you. Please go on, Dr. Amaka. I've called you doctor for today because you are giving me hot.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, let's do what we can do and then expose yourself to information. Sometimes it's just expose yourself, right? Get to know. If you hear mental health is new to Nigeria.
Yeah.
So it's not something that a lot of us had embraced. Okay, so let me also say this on this live. Having a mental health need doesn't mean that you have a psychiatric need. John, it does not mean you have not got bananas.
So, this thing you're saying, but what when you go to the hospital that, okay, you have a mental health need and they now recommend you or refer you to a psychiatrist? Why do they do that?
So if you start early, it can deteriorate to psychiatric need. You see why it's important that we check ourselves. Okay? When it goes out of control, it can now become a psychiatric need. But there's just some things that we can all do now. See a therapist constantly, do your routine check, be able to talk to somebody, have a support system, which is what we're doing in Women Growth Academy. Have a support system where you can be you, creating that created that non-judgmental space where you can be you without being judged.
True.
All right, so you can be yourself. You can connect because you are a relational being. You can connect with other women and with other human beings because you're human.
True.
All right. So if you don't check it, that somebody has depression can eventually become psychiatric. All right. Somebody can take their lives if they don't go. If they don't go when they begin to manifest those small tendencies. All right.
So what are the tendencies that we need to look out for? When do we
when you can't sleep, right? When you someone, let me use for instance, someone like me, right? If anything happens to me that makes me not to be able to sleep, is a major thing because normally I don't have
sleep
this problem. Do you understand? Anything that keeps me awake is major for me. So don't trivialize what people are going through. If you didn't sleep, why did you not sleep? Like that, maybe you have gotten home, you felt that you were having headache. You just kissed everybody and you went to bed. If you have hit that bed and didn't sleep, and it happens consistently for a week plus, you need to see a doctor. All right. If you lose appetite, if you suddenly begin to lose appetite, nothing used to, if you begin to have that feeling of hopelessness, helplessness, you need to talk to somebody. Right? If you eat too much, if you sleep too much, it's a problem. Right? So there has to be balance. You can't eat, it's not right to eat too much. You're not giving to food, you suddenly become gluten. You don't sleep normally, or you don't sleep excessively, suddenly you don't want to come out from bed. All right? If everything now if you become afraid of everything, like somebody who is usually outgoing and suddenly you just retreat, you don't want to talk to anybody. You don't want to see anybody.
Those are really,
The things that
really strong.
normally we get you, for instance, no matter how tired Brenda is, if you say, let's go live, she wake up. She can finish the life and break down what we must do the life. Right? Now, if someone that suddenly don't want to see people, that's a problem. Right? Okay, so bottom line, you can actually reach out and get help.
Absolutely. Man, I'm loving this conversation today. They leave us, we'll be at 8 o'clock, but we have to release some people because they will soon hold my neck. You said 1 hour. But
I said, even try to test. Please call.
I really enjoyed the conversation today. I mean, and I've really truly learned a lot from both of you. I just want to ask the people in the live, people that are still around, if you have any questions, please put it in the chat. Let us get from our two lovely professionals if they have if you have any questions you want to ask about, something. I have questions, so in case they don't have questions, I still have questions. So what's the difference between psychologists and psychiatrists? I don't know, I'm asking these questions plenty, but some of these things, I didn't do biology, sorry, so I don't know many things. I asked the question, what's the difference between psychiatrists and psychologists? Because I kind of think that, and where do therapists fall in all of this? Maybe because I know that psychologists and psychiatrists, they are medical professionals, right? And then the therapists are more like, I don't know, please help me. Let me not say the one that I don't know.
A psychiatrist is a trained medical personnel.
Okay.
So he went to medical school.
Okay.
Why a psychologist might not make prescriptions when it gets to a stage. That's why in working with mental health, a therapist, right, is a team of people. Just like delivering a baby in the hospital is a team of people, different kind of professionals that come in. So there's a team of people. Everybody know where they are specialized in managing you, right? So if you're a psychiatrist is trained, is a medical personnel, he can make prescriptions.
Okay.
A therapist will not make prescriptions. He will make recommendations.
Okay.
He will make
so they use like talk therapy.
Yes.
They use
So
all those
to make referrals, right? So if it's a mental health facility, everybody is on ground.
So
Unfortunately, I think we have about 7 or 8 all over Nigeria. As in the entire Nigeria, we have about there's no more than 8 yet. Yaba left last year. Their medical director openly said that they treated 100%. That is, they had 100% more patients than they used to have in 2023.
Their patients doubled.
Yes. In 2023.
Wow.
Right? I hope you realize or you understand that those are people who showed up at the hospital.
Hey, sure, you know, I was going to say it. The thousands more that did not go to hospital.
Those who didn't go because they didn't have access. Those who didn't go because they were ignorant. Those who didn't go because they are stigmatized.
They don't want to stigmatize, exactly.
Yes. So those are the people who eventually showed up. I know our people before they show up in nearby left is
they go to church.
It is critical. It has to be critical.
They go to church and they tie them down.
They've gone everywhere. And let me also mention this, right? And guys, this girl you're seeing, I love Jesus. I love Jesus. But some of our pastors need to do better. Right? There's a place for prayer. Prayer is not the master key. Prayer is a key.
No, it's not the only key.
Not the only.
So it's not the master key. It's not the master key. It's a key. It's one of the keys that we need. It's not the master key. If you get the master key, anywhere you put it, it will open.
You can put.
Do you understand? But it's one of the keys that we need. So I would really suggest that some of our leaders, because we can't deny that Nigeria is a religious society, right? So our pastors, our imams, help us to push this. Let people understand that. See, there's some things prayer doesn't deal with.
Okay.
Except on some occasions, right? If you are traumatized as a child, if you are raped as a child, and you never got intervention,
it's not prayer that will remove that.
You need a therapy.
Okay, let me put it this way. I believe that prayer can do anything, but I also believe that faith without works is dead. So if you say that, if for example you say that, oh, I believe that I can pass my exams, and you don't read, you also fail that exam. And I think that that's the same thing. So it is a combination of things. Unfortunately, yes, it's a combination. Most of the time, if you remember, most of the things we do, it's multidisciplinary. So you have this person and this person and this person. Unfortunately, what many people do with mental health is they say they only want to pray, and we know that it doesn't work that way. So you need the behavioral therapist, you need the psychologist, you need the psychiatrist, and you need the prayers, everything together to make it work. And that's very important.
Okay, so even the prayer is the edge that you have as a believer. Is the edge, is that extra on your ordinary?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Is the God factor that you bring in. But any prayer that gives everything to God is an irresponsible prayer.
That's what we're saying.
Yes,
it's dead.
Exactly. Any faith that leaves everything to God to do is
irresponsible.
You must actually.
There's a role we have to play.
Yes.
When you play your own role, it will become natural.
Yes, and prayer, and the thing about prayer is that it will even show you who to go to.
Yes,
it will lead you to the right doctor that will solve the problem. It will give the doctor the right wisdom to deal with the thing.
It will apply
because
the right tool.
Even that in itself will be a miracle.
Yes.
Even that in itself would be a miracle, because what are the odds? I mean, when my daughter was diagnosed of, she had been carrying that pain for 6 years, guys. We had gone everywhere. It literally took me speaking to a doctor. It was the randomest thing. My husband had COVID in that period when there was nobody treating COVID anymore. Yaba was over full. The government was not funding it anymore, and then Palin was collecting 10 million, so we were just confused. And then from nowhere, this doctor, we were giving this doctor's number, and she coached us through, okay, give him this, and then he got better. All at home, treatment at home. So by the time we finished, I sent her a thank you gift, just a small hamper, what's in the inside, just to thank her, because I didn't know her, I've never met her before. So sent her the gift, and she called me to say, you're such a good person. And we got talking. She said, I'm a pediatrician. I work with Lagos State, teaching hospital. And I'm like, if you have any issues with your children, let me know. I say, please, ma, I have issue. Schools. So I told her about my daughter. And she said, oh, I work with a gastroenterologist. Come over, we can have a conversation with her and check her out. So they gave me a number of tests. We did the tests. We got them. We saw the guy. The guys, I can't say anything. Okay, go and see pediatric surgeon. We got there, and this woman took a look at this girl, took a look at all the tests we got, and just gave us a diagnosis. I said, I said she's bluffing. My sister, we've been working the whole world for how many years? What are you saying? I just asked, this one is bluffing. You don't know what she's talking about. She said, we need surgery. I said, it's not our portion in Jesus' name. I carried my daughter, I ran away. After a while, I said, okay, let me just confirm this diagnosis. So I now went to Luth, because this was last week. I now went to Luth. I have a friend there, and I said, okay, I don't know if you have some type of doctors. We want to check some things. So that one gave me a whole fresh test again to do. We did. We carried, went to her. This woman gave me the exact same diagnosis. And I was like, wow. Her own tests were different. It was almost like a confirmatory test over, because it was not the same test for that. And I said, that woman didn't even see test, and she gave me diagnosis. I said, I'm going back there. She must be brilliant. So we went back to her, and she was one who did the surgery, all of that and all that and all that. In fact, before I even agreed to do the surgery, it was another long story. It was my sister, who is the doctor, that told me that, I don't understand. I understand that you're praying, but how about you look at it like this is your prayer answered for God to give you a means of escape. For the diagnosis and the fact that there's a solution is a means of escape for you, and that is an answer in itself. Why don't you say it that way? That's when I not carry my shadow. So I say this to say that prayer will lead you to your solution. Mm-hmm. Prayer doesn't necessarily mean you will wake up and the thing is gone.
Yes.
Because miracles don't always have to come in that way.
Yes. Yes.
So that's what we need to understand as Christians. The way God works is different with each person, and He meets us with our level of faith and all of that and all of that and all that. So don't come and be saying, my pastor, if he pray for you like this, the thing will go. I believe you. So do everything and it will not go. You will just be dying. Go to the hospital.
And human beings are different, right? The way God wants to deal with you is not the way He will deal with me.
True.
It's different.
Everybody's path is unique. Right? There's a place for the miracle also. Sometimes God will ask somebody to pray and it will disappear.
It does.
But it's also
happen.
God that gave the medical science people the intelligence.
Yes.
Right? It's God that gave them.
Absolutely.
So sometimes even when the miracle happens, you see some pastors that will tell you, go and confirm. Go and run tests and confirm.
Yes. Because we can't shout.
Yes.
We don't want you to wake up and the thing has deteriorated. Go and confirm. You absolutely have to.
Yes.
Even Jesus, when he finished,
all of that,
the guy said, go and show yourself to the priest.
It's a set of tools that is just meant to help all of us be better and look better and live our best life. Like I will always say, put your best foot forward. All right? But there's always something that we can do. Let me also mention here that another thing, let's be kinder.
To people.
Intentionally be kinder. I know that even the air that we breathe in Nigeria right now is toxified.
I will leave my Nigeria alone now. What is this? Do you want me to Japa? Please leave me alone.
I tell you know that I'm a nation builder. God has not allowed us to Japa, so we'll be here. I'm just saying. And you know what? The truth is, in working in this industry, I've come to find out many people are sweating in their air-conditioned cars. Many. So be kinder. Do you understand? And be kinder. When you see somebody, they don't shop in another market, and they are not the problem. They are not the Nigerian systems. All right. If you have staff, treat them better.
I tried to buy something from one man the other day.
Yes. If somebody, okay, let me say this. Sorry. If the Holy Spirit drops somebody's name in your heart randomly, reach out to the person.
Season, please.
Reach out. Reach out. Because it could just be the last thing that person, it could be that person has come to God, Nobody loves me. I'm not important to anybody. There's no need to continue to live. That one phone call can make, somebody still remembers me.
True.
Right?
In fact, I'm going through my phone today to
let me also mention this. I hope you know that your pastor is a human being. Your pastor is a human being. He too had a childhood that you're not too sure how it happened. Your
Amaka,
pastor's wife is a human being. She has children that need their school fees to be paid. You know why I say this? I work for the greater part of the years that I've been a Christian. I work very closely with pastors, and I think it's compassion and empathy that draw me to them. Because sometimes he would take the last money, his children's school fees, and pay your own children's school fees, and believe God another money will come. And he has a wife whose children have not been paid, children's school fee has not been paid. Some of them are truly being sacrificial. It might shock you. There's a pastor I used to be very closely with many years ago. Most people didn't used to know that buying bread, one loaf of bread in the morning, was a big deal. And he was an evangelist that has the miraculous attached to his ministry. So when you see your pastor's wife and you see your pastor's children, allow them to be human beings. They too cry. They too have life. They too. Sometimes when church close, go home. Let your pastor be a father.
Not to be fooling them again. Let them breathe.
Let your pastor be a father to his children. Let him go home and be a husband. Let him go and be a brother or a sister, or I don't want to go. There's a whole lot. When we were having our conference, I was sharing when this whole conversation started. We were having a conference and we did a session on female ministers and pastors' wives. The kind of things that came out. Some of these people are dying, but they are smiling and answering First Lady outside. Help them if you truly love them. Sometimes demonstrate that you genuinely love them. When you see your pastor's wife, and you are led, hug her and hold her. Sometimes that's all she needs to stop being in the air. Sometimes
as well.
If your shoulders is going to come across, you can see her crying. All right. I said all of that to say, be kinder. Do your small things. It doesn't matter how small, but just be there. Sometimes just send a text message. I love you. I'm rooting for you. I care for you. It's how you doing. Sometimes. Even I was saying the other day on the group when one of us said, when did you say, how are you really doing today? How are you really doing? Let me deputize for her. Everybody on this call, how are you really doing today? How are you doing?
Powerful question. That question always gets me every morning. Thank you so much, Amaka. Thank you, Dr. Chichi. It's been a bumper conversation today, and a befitting way to end our women's series for the International Women's Day series. We are continuing our Women's Matters. This program continues every Tuesday at 6 p.m. It's called Women's Matters, and we discuss everything that concerns women. We are Christians, so we have a biblical perspective on everything. But we are women of God who are growing in the love of God and of each other. And it's brought to you by the Women's Growth Academy, WGA. If you want to join our community, click the link in my bio. Follow us, follow my guests. I am Dr. Chichi, and I have Amaka Omo Oike. Follow them to learn more and gain more wisdom, because I seen the gems they were dropping. I was like, I don't carry Biro since, so like, I cannot be alone in this matter. Thank you so much, ladies. It was a powerful session. Thank you, Grab by Grace. You can just please, if you should show them some love in the chats. That thank you, ladies, for coming.
I'm collecting the love. I'm collecting the love.
I'm so honored. I'm so honored to have you here
Thanks
today.
for having
In
us.
fact, the
Thank
conversation
you.
has gone.
Thank you so much. I'm glad I eventually joined this conversation so I can sleep this night.
I know. See what the devil didn't want us to hear
So
today. Can
many
you
things,
imagine?
though, that the devil didn't want us to hear.
It is good. Goat's head. So, final words. Just one final thing that you want everybody to remember. If they forget everything we said today, one final thing. Amaka, I think you have said your final thing, because if I leave you now, you will give us, you will just carry us again. So let's hear from Dr. Chichi.
How are you
final
doing?
words.
That's my final word.
Yes, that's the final word. Powerful one. Okay, Dr. Chichi, final word.
Okay, so I'm going to tell the woman, you can have everything you want, maybe not just at the same time. So pace yourself, and you'll get it done eventually.
Powerful. I love that. I mean, and my final word is that know your season. Know your season, because everybody's in a different season. My mother says you cannot tell the time by somebody else's watch. So don't look at Amaka and say, oh, she's doing this and doing this and doing that, I must be doing that too. You know your season. You know what your own personal circumstances are. So tell the watch by your time always. Give yourself grace. Give yourself, love yourself enough. God bless you. Thank you all for coming. I had an amazing time tonight. And I didn't want to close this live, but we have to go because some of us will be putting this right now. All right.
Love you guys. Thank
Good
you.
night.